but this is a bit like the thought experiment from Douglas Adams, where there was some food that liked to be eaten.
Oh yeah, Restaurant at the End of the Universe. The cow. Meet the meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun to see that mantle get picked up by Rick and Morty with that the whole episode where he was trying to figure out like, no, it's only good if they commit suicide. And then all the variations, the thought experiments on thought experiments and so on.
Thought experiments. They never go wrong. They're just thinking.
Everybody wins. Hello, Dylan Theus. Dylan Theus, first past the post.
First in my heart.
There's only one time that I'm a fan of First Past the Post, and it's when Dylan Theus is first to show up.
And that's why Dylan Theus is our next president.
Congratulations. Good luck. I hear it's a real easy job.
Yeah, nothing to it. No sweat. Just have to be first past the post. That's all you need.
Well, to get the gig. And I guess literally do anything after that. Apparently, there's no downsides.
I say we start Cord Killers.
Okay, I'm ready now.
Welcome to Cord Killers Reckoning. The world of entertainment is turned upside down, and we're just trying to find out how to watch what we want, where we want, whenever we want. I'm Tom Merritt. Where's the good stuff, Brian?
The good stuff is about to be in Atlanta, Georgia, at a little thing called Dragon Con. It's like a city of 50,000 nerds, glorious nerds, and we all descend upon Atlanta right in the middle of downtown, where your boy, Brian Brushwood, will be performing a magic show, speaking at tech panels and podcast panels and skeptic panels, and doing my lecture, Scams, Sasquatch and the Supernatural, and be in the star car on the skeptic track in the parade. And I'm bringing Josie. I hope to see you guys there.
Oh, that's the thing that's different. I was like, I've seen this movie before, maybe, but no, I have not. This is an all new movie. I can't wait.
So about 8 months ago, the kids, like, they're old enough now that they're like, oh my God, and cosplay and fan cons and stuff. And they're like, we should go to one. I was like, well, I mean, there's only one you should go to. And they're like, could we do it someday? And I'm like, what about this day? Like, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. So
today is that day.
I did. And so I applied, and they are maximizing. We are fully saturated, people. We are all the way filled up with Brian Brushwood.
I can't wait for them to experience waiting for the Marriott elevator.
Oh my God. It's a classic. It's a classic. Just like in the movies.
Almost as classic as the Supply Run.
Supply Run, Supply Run, Supply Run.
Now, most companies are being selective about movies these days. We've talked about Apple reducing their slate. We've talked about companies spinning out cable networks, saying, you know what, we need to trim the fat. We need to let those survive or not on their own. Well, Paramount's new president, former Comcast exec, Jeff Shell, says, y'all are stupid. Paramount unveiled plans last Wednesday to retain and develop its entertainment brands. We're keeping Nickelodeon. We're keeping MTV. We're keeping BET. And they're going to make more movies. They're going to increase feature film production. Josh Greenstein, co-chair of Paramount Pictures, said the studio plans to raise annual output from 8 movies this year to 15, quote unquote, very quickly, with the ultimate goal of releasing 20 films a year. The studio plans to concentrate on its intellectual property like Star Trek, World War Z, Transformers. Dana Goldberg even said that Star Trek is a priority across the company. Also, Top Gun 3, a massive priority for Paramount. Shell, getting back to Jeff Shell, said, we're thinking about the cable networks not as declining linear assets that we need to spin off or deal with somehow. We're thinking of those brands that we have to redefine. Now, Brian, as someone who has redefined a brand or two in his day, you think he's got a shot?
I'll tell you what, man, my gut, and this is pure gut instinct. And on the one hand, gut instinct, gut instinct in one hand and wish in the other, see which fills up first. But my gut says this is the right call. I think America in the world is hungry to get back in the movie theaters. I think that the blockbuster is a novel experience that a lot of people had good core memories generated over the last summer. And I think that this kind of drift back to a monoculture-like existence is a solid bet.
I don't entirely disagree with you. I think.
Well, thank you. I take your praise.
I tried to adjust that tone as I went to not sound like you're stupid, but because that's not what I mean. I agree with most of what you're saying. I think it is smart to say like, hey, Star Trek, pretty valuable property. Maybe we can make more of that. I think the right movies, obviously like Minecraft movie, etc., are showing that, hey, if you can get butts in this, if you can get people to care, right? If Thunderbolts or something people care about, and you make a good movie, people will show up. There are fewer of those. So making more seems like a risky part of this proposition. Maybe they're just like, we have really valuable movies and we should make more. I really get skeptical about the cable company brands, though. That feels to me like they want to get more for selling them. So they need to gussy them up and make them look valuable. Like, we really don't want to let go of Nickelodeon, Versant. It's so precious to us. No amount of money. How much again would you pay for Versant? No amount. Okay, you can have Nickelodeon for the $100 billion or whatever. I just don't believe that Paramount is never going to sell its cable networks. I think it thinks they're undervalued.
Man, well, you threw me a curveball here, because on the one hand, just to put a pin in the movies side of things, an idea, a aspect that maybe hypothetically could fuel this kind of doubling down on big blockbusters is, I ain't going to accuse anybody of crossing the picket line and actually working during the writer's strike, or maybe having developed an incredible idea or two during the pandemic. But that was a lot of dormant artistic energy, and people who have reputations and a lot of conversations, a lot of people seeing scripts behind the scenes. This strikes me as a play where they're looking at an incredible lineup of very good movies that they think they can knock out of the park, because they've already, for all we know, whether it's AI or focus group or ABCDEFG testing, they probably know what stories have the potential to be super explosive. And I suppose that first comes the commitment, and then it's like, well, if we're going to make a prestige play, if we are going to try to dominate at the box office, then we better put on our Sunday best from top to bottom. Now, all of this may be Pollyanna. Maybe I'm being too charitable about it. I don't know.
I think you're onto something where Paramount may be an exception, and looking at all of its intellectual property is undervalued. Now that I'm talking it out loud, I think it could be Jeff Shell comes in and is like, look at all the IP you guys have, and you're not making the most of it. Let's gussy up these cable companies, and we'll tell people we're not going to sell them, but with the idea of like making them more valuable. So maybe somebody can make us an offer we can't refuse, but also we can fund this entire company on the films. Like, yes, films are not making as much money as they used to, but these could make more money than they have been, even in a world of scarcer theater goers. Because, yes, people are going back to the theaters. I just don't think they're going to go back ever in the same numbers they did before 2020. So you just have to have the really good stuff. And maybe Jeff Shell says, we've got the really good stuff. We could make better use of it.
I'm going to push back on that prediction a little bit and point to I'm going to foreshadow one of our upcoming stories today. I think that some novel approaches are being tried out that are yielding butts in seats for event-like movies.
I was going to ask, that was going to be where I went next, which is he missing the boat when he says we're going to make 20 films a year? And the fact is, it's concerts, it's sing-alongs, which is what Brian's alluding to that we're going to talk later. It's fandoms that are driving new kinds of theater goers. Or is he just not saying that? And he knows it. Like, Star Trek has a huge fandom. We could do some fun stuff with Star Trek in the theaters that would put butts in seats that isn't even a new movie, right? It could just be an event.
Yeah, I am bullish on Inhuman events. I think that there's an entire generation for whom they will be novel. I'm bullish on, at the top, you've got the pressure for still a hunger, a longing for a return to normalcy, going back to the nostalgic halcyon days of 2012 or what have you. So from the top, you got pressure. From the bottom, you've got novelty pressure. You've got also, it ticks the box that Brian is always thinking of what cannot be faked, being in the room with the electricity in a world where people are paying premium concert tickets to watch Hatsune Miku content. That all of that makes sense. And given their vast back catalog, think about like a certain age demographic would probably watch a best of SpongeBob special event kind of movie or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm making dumb ideas up.
Star Trek is the like, it's got a huge fandom, right? Like there are no end of Star Trek fans out there. You have been giving them things they're complaining about for the most part, with a few exceptions. Give them something, take the energy of a Star Trek convention and put it in theaters. I don't know, man. Like, I've got a crazy idea bouncing around my head. You want to hear it?
What?
The big things that bring people into theaters are, I'm with other people like me, right?
Yep.
That's why the concerts bring people in. I'm with other fans of Taylor. I'm with other fans of Beyonce. Then there are also people using theaters for video game events where you go in and you play on the big screen with each other. What if you went in and played Star Trek games with the cast of Star Trek on the other end? You're playing with them in the theater over the internet.
Okay. You added a couple of extra joints to the line that I don't know that you need. But if, for example, let's say LeVar Burton is back in demand. I think he's doing primetime TV shows and games. But like, during the quieter period when he would be at Dragon Con, I could see him taking that gig to remotely be the name attached to it. And I guess they don't have to be there in person if everybody else is there having a good time.
You're playing games with everybody, and there's Jonathan Frakes up on the big screen playing as well. And, there's a tournament, and one of the people in your theater is guaranteed to make it in the final against Jonathan.
Oh my gosh. No, that's great, because even a fleeting over the internet moment of connection is very powerful. And there was a time that Veronica Belmont and I played Team Fortress 2 in some charity thing, and I will never forget the fact that I killed Notch, creator of Minecraft, 3 times. And I don't know why that should matter, but it does a lot. I tell my kids all the time.
And you can have it where, you're going to keep using Jonathan Frakes. I don't know why. You use LeVar Burton. You could use LeVar Burton. I'll switch to LeVar. LeVar Burton is talking to like, oh, so-and-so in Philadelphia. I'm on to you. I know what you're doing here. And you can call out people. And even if they don't call out you, if they call out the person next to you, you get that jolt of like, oh, he talked to the person right next to me. If they call out you, especially, you get that jolt.
Well, and think about if we're going full crazy, and this is something I've wanted for a long time, is more live-ish events in movie theater spaces. I could see like a 15-city costume contest or something like that, where it's all done by video, but they're virtually, presenting to 10,000 people in movie theaters all at once. That would be a bit of a heavy lift in terms of logistics, but no heavier than Netflix's live streaming.
Yeah, no, it's doable, right? It does depend on the contractor that you hire to bring the tech for that, but it should be doable, and it will probably fail depending on who they get. But yeah, I think all of that stuff is something that can definitely happen. I was at a movie theater recently where it was a live stream of a concert. The concert was happening, so this was not a tape delay or anything, and the audio got out of sync. And at some theaters, this happened, and they just left it out of sync. In some theaters, they just stopped the live stream and refunded everybody's money.
Ooh.
In our theater, the person who was running it told someone, just go down and tell them, and as soon as you tell them, I'm going to restart, and it's going to come back and it'll be in sync, I promise. And that's what happened. They came in and said, hey, everybody, we know it's out of sync. We picked this time because it's between songs. He's going to reboot right now, and I know you're going to miss a couple of minutes, and we're really sorry, and we'll give you a credit afterwards, but it'll bring the audio back in sync. And he did, and it worked. And it's like, oh, all you need is people who know the tech, and it makes all the difference in the world.
All you need. Is that all, Tom? Well, those are certainly in big supply. Oh, wait, no, they're not. We don't train anyone to do anything. Nobody understands anything. They all shrug and say, I was just told to clean up. I don't know.
Well, they are out there, but you have to find those people and not just be like, yeah, I'll just hire Joe. Hey, how hard could it be to press play on the thing, right?
Well,
Yeah.
and this is worth a 90-second diversion. This is the value of a well-oiled organic machine. A traveling roadshow really is like an organism. You got a million individual pieces. Each node has their job, and they're all expected to be absolutely excellent at it. I know that we had talked about the Taylor Swift concert before. You better believe that night after night, whoever's switching cameras on one particular song needs to get it exactly right. And those kind of reps, you can't expect to happen at scale, massively parallel. So that's the one part of your vision, Tom, that I'm dubious of.
Yeah, no, it's doable. It may not be doable at the right level of quality. It's hard to say. But I do think, to bring it back to the Paramount story, they've got to consider that if they want to make 20 films a year work. But they do have the IP to do it. And I'm going to put it down right now, Brian. Paramount is going to sell these cable networks. They are polishing them up for sale. If I'm wrong, what they're doing is turning them into content production that they'll sell to anyone.
Spin-offs.
Yeah, so that Nickelodeon becomes a brand for a type of show you can watch on Netflix or Peacock or Disney Plus. That's the secondary possibility. But I really do think let's make these really attractive so that either they sell them off themselves, or when someone acquires Paramount, they are worth it to acquire, and then they will sell them off to somebody else.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
You know what else I can see?
What else can you see, Brian?
I can see for miles and miles, man. This show's never going to end. Number one, the
This show?
singularity is going to come
Today?
true. Oh, yeah. No, we're going to live forever. And then when we do, we're going to fund this show, as we always have, 15 years and counting, by the fantastic patrons who join us over at patreon.com/cordkillers. Those are the beautiful, beautiful souls that keep us loud, live, and independent. And we give them special perks. Not only do they go to sleep with the quiet, smug satisfaction, it's a proven fact, I assume, that they get better sleep and live longer themselves.
How
because
could it
they
not be?
don't have the guilt of enjoying all this without chipping in a little. So we kick something back to them. We give them early access to the full experience. That, of course, is where we watch the first, the ultimate, the lowest rated, and the last episode of a series. And they get exclusive access all the way into our id with the what is it?
After talk. Yeah.
After talk. Boy, a lot of
So
shows.
far
We do
into
a
our
lot of
id
shows.
that we couldn't even access the name of it.
That's right. You know what? We deny that officially After Talk doesn't even happen. Only patrons know whether or not it occurs at all.
Yeah. So you wouldn't steal a policeman's helmet, right?
Well, I mean,
Don't take this show and not give anything back to us. Patreon.com/cordkillers. Let's move on to the search party. So, Brian, the trailer is out for season 2 of Fallout, which is coming to Prime Video on December 17th.
Tom, I don't know why you're asking me, the wearer of this Nova Boy, Pip Boy knockoff, how you probably want to know whether or not Fan Brian approves of what he's seeing so far of season 2 of Fallout.
A Fallout Vegas, apparently, from the trailer.
Yeah, New Vegas will be the name of it, I assume. But the look, it looks great. You've got a in the past story that seems to be continuing on. That's going to set up the in the present story. We're going to see all of our favorite characters. We're going to see a little bit of development. I think it's interesting. Fallout is an interesting show because we're revealing who the actual protagonist is, and it's not who we thought.
Mm-hmm. And I thought it was interesting that the trailer focused on that, when you would think you'd want to at least tell people who don't know this story, hey, that person you liked, you'll get more of her. And instead it was like, you'll get some of her, but you're going to get a lot of this other guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they know what they wrote. They know who cashed the biggest check. And I assume it was a ghoulishly large figure.
I don't knows how big it can be.
I'm sure that the accountants were a Goggins when they saw it.
That's a wall ton of hits for you. All right. Let's move on to the thing we were alluding to earlier. The sing-along version of Netflix animated film K-pop Demon Hunters went into the theaters this weekend and won the weekend with close to $20 million in box office receipts. $20 million is actually not a lot for an opening weekend. This is not a prime opening weekend, right? Everybody's back to school. Summer is ending. You don't have people going to the movies a lot. So it is a lot for this particular weekend, $20 million. It beat a horror movie that's been out for 3 weeks, so it didn't have a lot of competition. However, still, a movie you can watch for free at home, people spent close to $20 million to go watch in the theater and sing with other folks. One of the Daily Tech News Show listeners was like, wait, I have to put up with all the crap in a theater and someone singing tone deaf next to me? No, thank you. And it's like, yeah, you're not who this was targeted at. This was targeted at somebody who loves singing, doesn't care, wants to be in a big crowd. The sing-along version also now available for you to watch at home. So Netflix not only took a gamble and won by putting this in the theater for 2 days, but then said, hey, now you can play along at home and relive it.
So I've only been to one sing-along movie experience, and it was all of the Tenacious D HBO episodes. This is before the movie, and so it was rare to find it, much like the D, it was rare to find fans of the D.
Sure.
And so I expected at the Alamo Drafthouse that they, like they would before when they were still able to be super punk rock, they would have put subtitles and all that stuff on there. Instead, they just passed out printed sheets and they're like, here are the lyrics. We forgot to put the subtitles on. So literally, we just watched a bootleg illegal presentation of an HBO
series. Oh, wow.
And loved it. It matters to be in the room with other people who like the weird thing that you do. Because now this is not the way you're going to advertise it. You're not going to advertise it as maybe you'll find a friend. Maybe you'll find a date, but that's exactly what it is. A lot of people went to church not for salvation, but because maybe at Bible school afterwards they'd meet somebody. And to be honest, I think we are increasingly in a society where trust is a funny thing right now. We've been trained for 5 years to accept Zoom calls and stuff like this as trustworthy, and just like that, they're suddenly not. And apps have been shown to be not trustworthy. I'm bullish on live events. This makes sense to me.
Yeah. The sing-along version, if you're wondering, like what makes it the sing-along version, is karaoke style lyrics. So not just the subtitles of the lyrics, but it follows along and highlights the words as they're being sung, just like you would in karaoke. So it definitely struck a chord and has affirmed my belief that what pulls people into the theater is a fandom. That fandom could be a fandom for the Thunderbolts movie, right? I'm a Marvel fan and it sounds like a good movie, so I'm going to go. Or it could be this. It could be like everybody who loves the songs from K-pop Demon Hunters wanting to gather together and be with each other and enjoy the thing that they love together, right?
Can I give a free gift to anybody who is in the promotions department at a major movie chain?
I ain't going to stop you. Yeah.
In my early days, when I quit my day job and ran away with the circus, I toured with the Bindlestiff Family Circus. And they had sword swallowers and jugglers and contortionists and silks back when that was a rare thing. And I did my Bizarre Magic Show and Ate Fire and all that stuff. But they did one curious thing that I think was brilliant and I would love to see implemented at scale. And that was anybody who dressed as a clown got in for half price. And so as a result, there was a little bit of performative buy-in. So those were the people that were more engaged with the show, because you don't spend an hour making yourself look good in clown makeup just to save $3 and not want the show to be a hit. Likewise, think about all of your Star Treks, your Star Wars, your Marvels or whatever. Imagine flexible costume-based pricing on that. So you get the buy-in and you get the fan experience just on premiere night.
Yeah, and then people will show up and pay full price to see what other people dressed up as to come to the show. If they're like, yeah, it's not my thing, but I want to see all the costumes. I want to see what people dress up as. I think that's super smart. Here's an interesting one that kind of plays into all of this. James Gunn's Superman was a huge box office hit. Everybody went to see it. It was great. Brought in the money because Superman done well. Everybody loves it. After about 33 days in the theater, it's now available for purchase or rental as of August 15th. Gunn said he agreed to this smaller window, or forced the smaller window, depending on how you look at it, because he wanted people to be able to watch it before Peacemaker came back on HBO Max August 22nd. And spoiler, there's a tiny crossover between the two. Superman becomes available on Blu-ray September 23rd. So you can only get it if you want to buy it digital until September 23rd. Do you believe James Gunn when he's like, yeah, I just wanted to make sure people could watch it, so when they watch Peacemaker, they're not confused?
It's so funny because I had the exact same thought as you are suggesting, which is this just marketing speak? Because traditionally, for the uninitiated, that was code for something really didn't perform well, is when you yank it from theaters and sell it super fast.
And this clearly did well, so it's not that.
Right. And James Gunn really seems to have a knack for compounding multi-layered nesting narratives that pay off. And I am excited about Peacemaker. I don't know about the for Peacemaker to make sense part so much as just so much as the timing being such that there would definitely be decision paralysis. Do I stay home and watch Peacemaker, or do I go out and watch Superman? This is a fairly nice, why not double whammy? There's kind of a tie-in, watch them. It's one of those, like, you lean into the deck, to the cards as they're played.
Yeah. And it clearly is taking advantage of the fact that theater owners have no leverage anymore, right? Theater owners used to be able to say it's 90 days or nothing and you need us. And they really didn't get much out of the last 60 days, but it was the principle of the thing, right? We want people to know you have to go to a theater to see a movie. Well, people don't believe that anymore. And so James Gunn can say, like, yeah, this one's going to be 33 days. And theater owners are going to be like, yeah, we'll make most of the money in the first 30. So sure, that's not a big deal anymore, and allows him to do something which promotes Peacemaker. You basically telling all the people who already watched Superman, like, hey, you're going to want to watch Peacemaker, right? And then making it available on digital makes them buy it and watch it again to be like, oh, I wonder what I missed. I better watch this again. Like, it's, to me, not about making it available to people who didn't see the movie. It's more for the people who did. And then you generate revenue for your company, getting them to buy it or rent it at the same time.
Yep.
Office follow-up series, The Paper. If you're unfamiliar, this is from Greg Daniels, guy who did The Office, but it is set at a newspaper and features Oscar, the accountant from The Office, who's now working at that newspaper. Isn't going to be released on a weekly schedule. They're going to give you all the episodes on September 4th, all 10 episodes to binge, all at one time.
Now, this one, I don't believe is an indication of how much they believe in it. I think that it's testing very mid, and they're all like, you know what? Make it a binge.
Yeah.
We'll take it as it is.
And it could be one of those things where they realize that showing people one episode made them less interested than showing them 4, in tests. And they're like, well, when we did the test and let them watch all 10, they loved it even more. So let's do that. Apple released the first Peanuts musical in 37 years. It is called Snoopy Presents a Summer Musical, which technically it's still summer, so they're not late. It's about Sally hating her first summer camp and Charlie Brown trying to help.
How I was about to say, oh, what a cynical turn that they would say, make it something miserable. But then I realized Charlie Brown specials have always been cynical.
Yeah, it's always like Christmas is falling apart. How do we save it? Yep. Halloween falling apart. How do we save it? And Apple executives were like, what can we do that is falling apart in the summertime? Independence Day? No, it's a global audience now. How about just summer camp? People go to summer camp everywhere, right? Great. There you go.
Yep.
Trailer is out for Futurama season 13. All 10 episodes of the new season will premiere on Hulu on September 15th. And then 2 episodes a week will air on FXX starting September 15th.
Are you excited about this one?
I am. I mean, excited might be overstating it, but I'm like looking forward to it. I've been enjoying Futurama. They play the hits and they do them well. And so the new ones don't feel different to me in my memory from the old ones. I don't go, oh, that was a Hulu episode. So yeah, I think this will be fun.
Well, and normally, even a beloved cartoon series like this, when it cuts into a trailer, you have a bunch of very unfunny one-note flops. But I got to admit, this trailer was better than I expected, and I ended up kind of chuckling out loud.
All right. I know you're not a big sports fan. You kind of passively consume it.
No, are you kidding me?
Well, as a huge sports fan, then, you'll be happy to know that the NBA TV schedule for the coming season is quite simple. Okay? I'm going to be able to read right from the press release, and you're going to get it right away. Mondays on Peacock, Tuesdays on NBC and Peacock, Wednesdays on ESPN and the ESPN app, Thursdays on Prime Video, Fridays on Prime Video and the ESPN app and ESPN, Saturdays on Prime Video in the afternoon and the ABC network as well as the ESPN app at night, and Sundays on ABC and the ESPN app in the afternoon and NBC and Peacock at night.
Tom, I don't want to be cynical here, but if I were somebody prone to conspiracy thinking among corporations, I might accuse them of, I don't know, trying to set up a scheme such that the simplest thing was to just ask for where's the thing where I pay for everything and get all of the thing that I want.
Yeah, and that would make sense if that existed.
Right?
But you can't add ESPN to Prime Video or Peacock. I think there's a deal to add Peacock to Prime Video, but it's not in the Prime Video app. It's just a bundle. So you have to have separate apps. And it is only those three. And it gets more complicated when you have to add in this one will be broadcast on ABC, but it's in the ESPN app. If you stick to apps, it gets a little more simple.
Well, and keep in mind that a confusing, snarled tangle like this for consistent programming, incredibly valuable data. You can mine so much data because you could get a map of who's driven by fandom for a particular team. You can get a map of who is so deeply committed that they went through this Byzantine thing. And once you know those numbers, by intentionally setting everything up as an obstacle course, then you can later sell the solution, and how much commitment there is will directly inform you as to what to set the price at. So weirdly, look, this is ugly. It's stupid from a fan perspective. This is a pain in the butt. However, I think from a tactical, strategic point of view, it's pretty brilliant.
I wonder where we'll end up with these sorts of things, because this is mimicking the old way of doing deals, right? You'd have some games on ABC and some games on CBS, and then everybody would just look in their TV guide and go, oh, I turn it to channel 2 today. Oh, no, today it's on channel 4. Now they're doing the deal as if that's still the case, but it's apps and services they have to pay for separately. I wonder if down the road people just end up gravitating to everything from this league is on this app. Peacock is the NBA app and ESPN is the MLB app. I wonder if we ever get there.
Yeah.
Netflix released a trailer for part 2 of season 2 of the show Wednesday, which drops its last 4 of the 8 episodes of this season on September 3rd. The first half of the season brought in 50 million viewers in 4 days. That's the second highest weekly total ever for a Netflix series, behind only Wednesday season 1. And K-pop Demon Hunters, now the second most popular movie ever on Netflix, behind Red Notice, with 38 days left in the window at that counting for it to catch up.
Were you excited by this trailer? I know that you enjoyed Wednesday.
We had someone who emailed us who eviscerated Wednesday season 2. They liked season 1 and just thought Wednesday season 2 was a total failure. I disagree with them wholeheartedly. I thought Wednesday season 2 was even better, and I liked it because of the things that are new, like adding in more appearances of mom and dad and being more Addams Family like. But to each his own. I thought it was great. Sesame Street will launch on Netflix on November 10th. And Ms. Rachel, a YouTuber with more than 16 million subscribers, launching season 2 of Ms. Rachel on Netflix on September 1st.
Interesting. He says as he hits a bunch of buttons.
Says Sesame Street, that's more of a hey, remember when we told you Sesame Street was coming to Netflix? Well, that happened starting November 10th. It's still on PBS too, just like when it was on HBO. The Ms. Rachel thing is more interesting to me because this isn't YouTuber tries to make it or platform tries to add YouTube shows. This is just a person who's making a successful version of their show on Netflix.
Yeah.
YouTube also offering a new monthly option for its NFL Sunday ticket package. If you are not a returning subscriber, it's $85 a month. It's more expensive if you're a returning subscriber, but that's always true. The yearly cost is $276 if you're a new subscriber, but you pay more to come back after the next season. So $85 a month if you're just wanting to go month to month. It'll be more expensive for you month to month next year, though. YouTube will also stream a game for free on YouTube, not on YouTube TV, September 5th from Brazil. YouTube announced it will have 4 dedicated watch with streams of the games. So you'll have 2 in English from iShow Speed and Tom Grossi Broadcasting, and then 2 in Spanish from Robe Grill and Escabeche.
Wow. Yep. Tom, I have something to reveal. When you thought I was a big sports fan, I lied.
What?
That's not
Brian,
true.
You entirely fooled me.
That's not true at all. Although those are eyebrow-raising numbers, but they make sense. I mean, if you're hosting regular parties, if you're having friends over, it's kind of like...
The big thing is, for people who love NFL Sunday Ticket, that price doesn't matter. They'll pay it. And having the ability to say, I don't want to pay for the whole season at once, but I do want it in October because those are the games I care about that'll be on there that I can't watch otherwise. That's something people have wanted. And so it's interesting that they're giving that. And these watch with streams, that is something to keep an eye on because there will be the stream with the traditional play-by-play. These are additional streams where you can just like hang out, which is something ESPN was doing with Monday Night Football on ESPN2, where they were having a more casual version of the commentary where you're just hanging out. So that seems to be becoming a thing. Netflix obtained the rights to stream the 2026 World Baseball Classic tournament. It's kind of a World Cup tournament that Major League Baseball puts on in Japan. Netflix just got the Japanese rights. They didn't get the worldwide rights, just the Japanese rights to show the World Baseball Classic. And Japan has won the last World Baseball Classic, so it'll be very popular there. Yahoo Sports launching a free ad-supported streaming channel with original program covering big leagues. This is basically all the videos from Yahoo Sports Network in one place. With some live stuff. And then Bloomberg reports that YouTube is bidding on the rights to stream the Academy Awards, aka the Oscars. ABC has the Oscars through 2028, but is out of its exclusive negotiation window. So now others can join, and apparently YouTube is interested.
Yeah, I wonder how serious YouTube is. That seems
think
like
they're
a strong
serious.
fit.
Yeah.
Like it seems like when YouTube gets it, and I actually, if I was going to place an even money bet, I say, well, I don't know, Disney ABC does have a lock on it. They may be precious about it, but I could see that being like the biggest thing on YouTube in a minute.
Disney apparently won't spend any amount of money to keep the Oscars, or they would have finished this in their exclusive window, right? But they're not out of it. They may just be trying to see if they can get a bargain. YouTube wants to be known as the place where you watch live things, right? And sometimes those things aren't necessarily legal, like a Taylor Swift concert that somebody is streaming from their phone. But if they had the, honest to goodness rights to the Oscars, I think that would fit right into their brand.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the buried treasure.
Most people want to know why they suddenly got rich.
Buried treasure.
So buried treasure is when we talk about something we've been watching that you might want to add to your watch list. And Brian, you've got one on here that everyone tells me I need to start.
Tom, weapons. Holy cow, that freaking movie. But I laughed, cried, screamed. That movie is a masterpiece. It's great. Watch
Couldn't beat
Weapons.
K-pop Demon Hunters at the box office, though, could it?
You know what? All those children who showed up to K-pop Demon Hunters, whatever. Look, it's great. It's great. I did not know what to expect going in. And in fact, there's literally in the logo a bit of a hint. And I'm like, I wonder if that's meant to riff on this or on that. And it turns out the answer is both.
All right.
It's multi-layered. It's great. It's great.
Everyone tells me this, so I must watch it.
Yep.
And then it says here you started the Strange New Worlds episode that I recommended you start.
Oh, yeah. You recommended that I check out the Strange New Worlds holodeck episode, and I was
Yeah.
excited to do so. I loved the sneaky beginning thing. I loved what they set up for it. But around the 15, 20-minute mark, it hit me very hard that part of the charm of the episode almost certainly was that I was seeing characters that I know one way acting a different way. And once I realized that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to save it until I
don't know
what's
these
going
characters. All right, that makes sense. Yeah, that's fair. It's been a while since I mentioned a Chinese drama, and these are never for everyone. But there's just something relaxing.
Unless you live in China, in which case they're definitely for every upstanding citizen.
Well, unless they are ones that are only available outside of China, because when they were made, they were okay, but they're no longer okay.
Oh my God.
Which happens. This is not one of those. I love the period pieces that they do. They are just beautiful. They're really good at them. The production value is high. They're very relaxing in the sense that you're going to get this beautiful movie. They are not for people who are strong on like plot. I want plot to drive things because it's a little bit predictable, although there's twists and turns in the better ones. But the one I watched most recently is called Prisoner of Beauty. And it's set in a fictional version. I think this is becoming more common to get past the censors. It's a fictional version of ancient China, not the real ancient China. And it's about a woman who is married to a rival chieftain because, politics. And then they slowly have to gain each other's trust. And of course, fall in love at some point. And it's done well. It's like, okay, I know how this is going to go. And it's still like believable. And they fight longer than you would expect. So if you're looking for a pretty ancient drama, of people drinking tea and doing sword fights and riding horses and all of that, Prisoner of Beauty, not only on Viki, but you can find it on YouTube as well. So you don't even have to pay for something.
Cool.
If you got something we should be on the lookout for, email us cordkillers@gmail.com. I mean, and speaking of email, you can just email me and be like, Tom, I have a question about Prisoner of Beauty. Why you like these commie dramas? And I'll explain that to you. Just got to sign up for my newsletter at freetomnewsletter.com.
Tom, I mean this sincerely. You may have the single most wholesome email I've ever signed up for. It is every one just reeks of sincerity. Even if like nothing interesting's happening, you make sure to diligently report how little happened that week. It is so authentic. It is and yeah, you're not selling me. So me, I'm going to sell you lockpicks. Eventually I'm going to tell you to come to my stage show. You, it's like, have a great day. That's it. So it's amazing.
I don't know if that's a selling point or not, but thank you.
No, it is. Look. This is the introvert extrovert dynamic. This is Sesame Street versus Mr. Rogers. I mean, this is there is just a homespun authenticity to your emails that brightens my every week, and I encourage everyone to go to freetomnewsletter.com because also you disambiguate, much like Mr. Rogers, who came out of retirement to explain 9/11 to kids. I feel like when a technological 9/11 happens, the calming perspective of Tom Merritt is going to be exactly what I want, which is why I think everyone should go to freetomnewsletter.com.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. That is a better promo that I could ever do, which is, of course, that tracks as things go.
On brand for both
I
of us.
will say I'm going to a wedding this weekend in Oklahoma. So if you want homespun, this would be the week to sign up because things are getting real homespun in Tulsa. That's freetomnewsletter.com. Let's move on to Scanning the Horizon.
Send a scanning to avoid.
Scanning the horizon!
When Versant splits from Comcast to NBC Universal later this year, MSNBC will rebrand as MS Now. Or as an emailer pointed out, Multiple Sclerosis Now.
Okay.
Yes. Adam, here's your wish. Adam is like, I can't wait for Brian's take on the MS Now rebranding.
Tom?
Yes.
Look, a lot of things start off with bad names, and then eventually the name becomes the thing. Everyone hated the name Amazon until it became the name of the place to get the thing fast. And the same thing with the iPad. It was a terrible name before it was a good name. I don't know. MS Now, like, Okay, so we're leaning on Microsoft, that beloved brand.
No. That's not it at all, Brian. Obviously, it means my source.
Oh my God. Okay, also, this is the thing. You realize the problem. Okay, all right, let's go. Look, the problem with MSN, their negatives is that it is perceived as the Fox News of the left, a bubble where people don't have rational discourse, thought, or read facts. It's fake news, literally, is what their position is. That's what they're working against. So what do? They put the word opinions right in the banner on there, and my source inherently says, you might as well announce my biased friend says. This is like hanging a lantern on their biggest problem. I don't.
Is it a problem though, or is it an advantage? I think you could make an argument that the bias and the I'm going to get that stuff is an advantage.
It's not. This is the worst part. This is the most pernicious part of all, Tom, is you're 100% right. For the bottom line, this is the exact right thing you do. You take news discourse and you politicize it, and you get people to pay to go deeper during the crazy well. That's what the Washington Post did. That's what New York Times has figured out. This is what is wrong with America. And yet, right for the bottom line, I would like the news. Apparently, that doesn't exist anymore, says Zero.
Well, no, because they took NBC out. I mean, I look at this and I'm like, because you're right. Fox's slogan historically is fair and balanced, right? Like they're trying to tell you that while delivering something that many think is not fair or balanced. But, you want to tell them one thing so that you can justify, I'm at the fair and balanced place. MSNBC doesn't say that, never did, but it did say NBC, and NBC News is a trustworthy name. It's a heritage name.
I will bet that was the sticking point. I will bet somewhere somebody wanting to keep this network alive says there's only one choice. We have to lean all the way as blue as we can be. We have to be even bluer. We have to be all the crazies at the bottom on the blue side. Fox News has all the crazies on the red side. We need all the crazies on the blue side. And somebody said, over my dead national broadcasting company, we will never put our name on that. And they were like, what if we drop the NBC? What if we just do MS?
Yeah, and you may rightly point out that Versant will not be part of Comcast and NBC is sticking in Comcast, but CNBC's not changing its name. CNBC gets to keep calling itself CNBC. So yeah, there's something to what Brian is saying. And if you can't use NBC anymore, well, what if we just use the first three letters and just drop the B and the C? MSN. Well, that sounds too much like Microsoft Network. Oh, but now is very of the moment and we're news. So instead of MS News, which would sound like Microsoft News, we'll be MS Now. There you go. I just summarized like ChatGPT.
News might imply that they carried, news. Terrible.
Apple is raising the price of Apple TV Plus. It'll go from $9.99 a month to $12.99 a month, but if you pay annually, there's no price increase. So you're getting an even bigger discount if you pay annually. It's still $100 a year, which is less than $10 a month. Or if you already get a bundle, like if you bundle iCloud and Apple News and Apple Fitness together, they're not raising the price of the bundles. So your Apple TV Plus is no more expensive if you get the bundles. This is a clever way to get people to move into the bundles, I guess. I don't know if it's a good way to entice people to try it.
Yeah. A lot of fee raisings. I used to be a fan of them because it implied there was health in the post-cable world. Now I feel like it's just a reflection of the horrible inflation spiral we're in. Welcome to Old Man Cranky Brian talk, where Brian's done with it. He's over it. All of it.
Inflation was Ford's problem, but when that Jimmy Carter gets in office, he'll fix it. Don't worry. I've seen this movie. YouTube TV could soon lose access to Fox channels. It announced on its official blog just days before the NFL season begins. I guess it's a way to make people sign up for your NFL Sunday ticket. But the blackouts would still apply. If both sides aren't able to come to an agreement by 5 p.m. August 27th, so this may have already passed by the time you listen to this, you will no longer be able to get Fox News, Fox Business, Fox Broadcasting, NFL games at all. The content from the channels saved in your library would also disappear. You wouldn't be able to get access to those. In case YouTube TV does not reach a deal with Fox in time, they will give everyone an extended credit of $10. Now, if they won't give that credit at 5 p.m. Eastern on August 27th. They're saying an extended period of time. So they didn't define how long that was. But my guess is if they're giving you a $10 credit, it's probably for a month.
Yeah. I don't know what to make of this from the outside.
Well, I'll tell you what to make of it. You can just sign up for Fox One, a streaming service, which has now been available as an Amazon Prime Video add-on just for you, Brian. I know that's how you like to manage your content. Same price, $20 a month, as if you did it a la carte, but you can add it to Amazon Prime.
Yep. I don't know why the friction matters, and anybody who's designing anything, keep it frictionless. And we're in that very awkward adolescence before the robots are really consistent and good at making these things easy. But until that happens, if you're designing anything, make it very easy for me to sign up on Amazon.
By the way, W. Scott is one pointing out that with Fox One just launching August 21st and this contract coming to an end on August 27th, it's a fair bet that this is an argument over what price what revenue share YouTube gets if it were to make Fox One available as an add-on to YouTube and YouTube TV.
So we're seeing yet another echo of carriage disputes between networks and providers. Yeah.
Netflix announced the schedule for its Netflix House openings. Remember, they did a restaurant in Vegas and they've done immersive experiences here and there. This is going to combine all of that into one location that is a permanent location. Netflix House in Philadelphia opens November 12th at King of Prussia Mall. The Dallas location opens December 11th at Galleria, Texas. And then there is a Las Vegas location. They'll expand on the restaurant that will open sometime in 2027, but we don't have a fixed date on that one.
Yeah, I think the food angle is a good one. I think the pop-up is a good strategy. I think that they're avoiding owning a lot of real estate by doing it this way. I think this is a lean, efficient way for an ephemeral brand to cash in.
Yeah. You know what I noticed taking up space in a lot of tourist areas these days is the escape room. Mm-hmm. You know, the family comes in like, oh, a fun escape room. We got a couple hours to kill. Yeah, let's go do that. This feels like an expanded version of that. Oh, the Wednesday activation. Well, let's go do that. And then we can eat in the Netflix restaurant afterwards and eat some Wednesday themed food. I'm not sure what that would be. Stars is now
Black spaghetti.
Yeah, exactly. Squid Ink. Stars is now a separate company from Lionsgate, so it released its first earnings report on its own. Revenue down 8%. Streaming subscribers dropped 13.04 million last quarter to 12.2 million this quarter. I'm sorry, they didn't drop 13 million. It dropped from 13 million to 12.2 million. If you add in Canada, total North American subscribers were 19.1 million, which is still a drop of 520,000.
I mean, that's a hit, but it doesn't sound like a disastrous one. I don't.
Everybody else is rising though. Nobody's dropping. Even AMC is rising on its streaming subscribers. So when your streaming subscribers drop, AMC is dropping subscribers because cable, but streaming is rising. Stars is dropping streaming subscribers. That's the wrong direction.
And isn't it funny, because I remember all the way back to, I think it was CES, where we were meeting with the folks at Stars, or they happened to come by to visit us, and we were like, man, you guys are crushing it on Netflix. And because the Stars catalog was what was fueling Netflix's incredible popularity. They're like, yeah, it'd be nice if we made any money from that. And so now I just feel like Stars is Gil from The Simpsons, where he's like, oh, geez, I don't know what to do with this catalog. Go, silly Stars.
Oh, me, oh, my. NBC Universal is nearing a 3-year deal with Major League Baseball. So this is probably more important to me than anybody else. So I'm sorry if I'm boring you, but I'll try to keep it short. Major League Baseball rights are all changing. Major League Baseball would like to have as many of the rights under its control as possible, but it's not going to do all of them. So here's what's going on. It looks like NBC is going to get the rights to carry one wild card playoff game, or maybe more than one, actually, because they're series, right? But they're going to carry wild card playoff games, which ESPN has done in the past. They'll get a Sunday morning game in addition to Sunday night, which they're taking over from ESPN. And that would give NBC a full slate of Sunday sports. So they'd have Sunday night football, Sunday night basketball, Sunday night baseball, and Sunday morning baseball. Wall Street Journal also said Netflix is near a deal to get baseball's Home Run Derby, which happens right before the All-Star game. That is been on ESPN. That would come to Netflix starting 2028. And ESPN, if you're like, wait, it sounds like ESPN is losing all its baseball. ESPN is looking to incorporate MLB's streaming service into ESPN. Right now, NHL's streaming service is part of ESPN. If you pay for ESPN Plus or the new ESPN streaming service, you get all of the NHL games that aren't national or blacked out. And it looks like ESPN is trying to be the home of that for all the sports. So the way Apple got in Major League Soccer, they're trying to get Major League Baseball. I wonder if Apple's in on that bidding as well.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the chatter.
Got mail.
So Brian asked back on episode 563 if anyone who lived before 1950, the year TV became widely available in the U.S., to write in. And we got an email from Dennis who said, 79-year-old man here, appreciative listener, considering Patreoner. So I was 4 years old in 1950, but my first experience was when my childhood friend got a 7-inch TV. The screen was on an affair about the size of an ice chest. The picture was, of course, crap. Eventually, my family got a console TV as a central part of the living room furniture. The next memory that comes to me was the year 1970 that I borrowed a 13-inch color TV from my father to watch the Super Bowl in my own home. I never returned it. You also talked about cable adoption. I was one of the first ones in my town of Collinsville, Illinois. That is right on I-70. I've been there. To subscribe to cable, which was a contact slider box on top of my TV. That must be where the term set-top box came from. We had the same thing in Greenville. I'm guessing it was the same company, and we all got cable before St. Louis. So take that, city folk. The attraction was better reception and exotic content, including a French language channel, which did not suffer from the American aversion to nudity. ESPN broadcast Australian rules football endlessly, where a guy in a suit coat and fedora stood in the end zone to signal scoring. Those are my memories, Dennis, in hopes that the Cardinals can regain form in 2026. Wow, this started as an interesting email and then ended up just being like a piece of home for me. This is great. Thank you, Dennis.
Yeah, you should talk about it on freetomnewsletter.com.
Yeah, I absolutely will. This is great. I didn't get the French channel, though. I'm a little jealous of that.
Showtime showed those movies.
Yeah. Scott wrote in and said, this comment is late, but I was just listening to episode 562 today, and the YouTube jump ahead feature is something I've been thinking about. My experience has been that it skips over the creator's own sponsored ad read. I'm not a content creator, but I probably wouldn't like that if I were. Some of the channels I watch follow Brian's suggestion of trying to make the ad read fun and unique each time. At the end of the day, it's still an ad and likely to be skipped by viewers. Maybe you have some insight into how this will affect sponsorships, but I've been hesitant to use the feature on my favorite channels as it might reduce their revenue.
Yeah, well, keep in mind, it will reduce the revenue in for viewer minutes, but that is minuscule. That's nothing. Like the amount of time that it took for you to even think about that, it's a fraction of a penny to them. What will matter is that if they are talking about a sponsor, it's because the sponsor is paying them to access your mind. And if you don't consume them talking about the sponsorship, then it's not penetrating in. But I don't know that you owe that to any of your favorite creators. I say if you are feeling any guilt, figure out if there's a way to support them directly, do so, and then skip, watch, or do whatever you want. Because you're right. There are, I mean, we had two editors on Scam School week after week. One was, his job was to edit the episode. The other spent an entire week editing just the comedy skit that we did for domain.com. And we loved doing it. It was a fun flex. We got to do some creative stuff. And there's actually a playlist. If you search Scam School domain.com ads, just watch all of them. They're great. They're great. Yep. So I'd love it if everybody had time, energy, and effort to do that. But of course they don't. But meanwhile, if you're worried about supporting your creators, just figure out a way to support your creators. Don't agonize about this. Real quick rant, and then we'll come back. 20 seconds here. For some reason, a lot of people have a block when it comes to directly supporting stuff. They just don't identify as people who directly financially support stuff, but they will waste so many of their precious minutes figuring out how to get credit for buying something on Amazon with an affiliate code or whatever. what you're doing is a tragedy because you are working very, very hard to give virtually nothing. The creator doesn't really see any of that effort go into it, and you have wasted your time. Just figure out a way to give money to your creators.
Yeah, subscribe to their free newsletter.
Or go to patreon.com/cordkillers.
All right. Recently, the UFC announced they would be ditching the pay-per-view model and get a deal with Paramount Plus. Onder wrote in, MMA is the only sport my wife and I follow, so for me, this is big news. I was excited. I knew that this was going to be something you guys would talk about and was curious what angle you'd take on it. The whole beginning part of the show, I was waiting and asking myself, what about the big UFC news? When Tom finally brought it up, the response from Brian was a simple but questioning,
yay?
I literally laughed out loud. There has been nothing in the many years of me listening to this show that should have caused me to expect anything other than what I got, and yet I played myself for 24 hours. Brian's reaction to the news was exactly on brand and very funny for me. Thank you for the many hours and one-directional conversation.
Thank you so much, Andrew. That is so great. That made my day.
No, absolutely. Like, I love that Andrew could have gone the route of like, and why blah, 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 blah. Instead, he's like, nope, that's right. That's what I should have expected. So
I knew it was a scorpion when I picked it up.
And then finally, Amr writes, I really enjoyed hearing y'all's full experience review for the first episode of Bonanza. I was thinking that considering that the general plots of Bonanza and Yellowstone are so similar, yet their tones are both very different, also likely products of their time, it'd be interesting to see you guys do the full experience of Yellowstone once you finish with Bonanza, and then compare both series.
I rather love this idea. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Is Yellowstone still being made? I know there are different versions of them. So
I have no idea. That's a whole world.
It ended on December 15th, 2024. So there's spin-offs still going, but the mainline Yellowstone is done. Okay, so yeah, it qualifies. Excellent suggestion. That is it for us. Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. And we are live on twitch.tv/nightattack and youtube.com/modernrogue Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific. I highly recommend you talk to us then next time.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
I highly recommend you join us again next time, is what I meant to say. Well, if it isn't time for Brian to take a pee, what do you think he does in there, everybody? Tell me in chat. Speculate. I mean, obviously he pees. But, does he read a magazine? Does he whistle? Does he plan his next YouTube video? What do you think, Amos?
I think he touches up his makeup.
Yeah. I was really worried where you were going when that sentence started. But yes, that is Gambling Man 617 thinks he does a quick round of Hearthstone. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Maybe.
Willie Scott looks at his phone. Classic, right? We're assuming a sit-down situation in these cases. Clown makeup maybe. Yeah. Touching up his clown makeup. Yeah. Asmodeus checks his phone, checks out his hair, says Lemon. Dylan. Dylan believes he plots world domination, which
same thing I do every potty break.
Do you think he powders his clown nose, G. James B? Is it just powdering his nose, or?
Well, so I have a follow-up question to that. Then, if he does powder his clown nose, how much powder has accumulated on said clown nose that he apparently leaves in the bathroom?
Yeah, right. Because it doesn't look like
wearing it when it comes out. Yeah.
Maybe that's how good the powder is. We can't even tell it's clown nose.
See.
Isn't it funny? Speaking of powder your nose, how I need to powder my nose was like a polite feminine way in the mid 20th century to say you needed to go to the bathroom. right?
Right.
Because you wouldn't want to just say go to the bathroom. That would bring up images that are untoward. So
Heaven,
I'm going
heaven
to
forbid we
powder
have
my nose.
biological processes.
Yeah. So powder my nose starts there. And then by the 90s, it's like a gangster thing. Like, take a powder. Like, get out of here.
Wait, was that what they were referencing when they said take a powder?
Take a powder is like, go powder your nose.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, eventually it got cross-pollinated, so to speak, with like doing cocaine in the bathroom.
Yeah. Sniff a powder.
Take a powder. It was like a coy wink. By the way, it was because I have the in-ear monitors. I can hear you when I go pee. The lap is always.
Now we
the
know
same.
what Brian does is listen to us.
Yes, I do. And in this case, I texted you while I was peeing. LOL.
Oh, I didn't see the
LOL.
text come
Yeah.
in. Then I have my notifications
No,
silenced.
so I start the coffee in there and then I pee, and I usually have around 15 more seconds to wait for the coffee.
For the
which,
yeah,
enough
it's-
for me to go, God damn you, miracle of technology. Why aren't you
Why
done
aren't you even
faster?"
faster?
Yeah.
Yeah. What flavor of coffee is it today?
I don't know, but I here's a coffee hack. If you drink decaf, you could drink it all day.
Yeah.
Now, the only downside is that you'll have to pee after
You'll still have
every
to
hour.
pee, but
You'll-
yeah,
But
you won't get wired.
You know what? I was thinking about this as well. There are sociological, maybe this is an aftertalk thing, but
Oh, yeah.
this is all the way back to my close-up magician days. Sometimes you would show up at a gig and everyone would gather around to see a trick, and then you would be trapped and you would end up burning all your material because everybody wanted to see another trick, and you would do it in the first like 25 minutes, and then you had nothing to do for the next 3 hours that you were booked for. And so you're performing increasingly crappy material. So the excusing yourself to the restroom, do one trick, excuse yourself to the restroom is enough of a social break that then you could work in groups of, 4 to 7 people at the party for the remainder.
Yeah,
but I sort of have brought that mentality. People probably notice that about once every hour, I suddenly have to go to the bathroom, and I do because I'm constantly
Because you're constantly drinking decaf coffee.
yeah, exactly. But also sociologically, it's a good break reset for group dynamics.
And you're in my decade of age now too. So
You're in.
Yeah.
4 and 8-year-olds.
The urine decade,
Yeah.
where you lie prostate in front of the.
Yeah, I got the memo. I got the video memo.
All right, shall we do a full experience?
Yep.
Here we go. 3, 2. Welcome to the full experience. This show takes a series of television from all eras, all walks of life, all genres, all levels of quality, and watches simply 4 episodes, no matter how long that TV series ran, to figure out if we can feel as if we watched the entire thing. Do we become conversant with that series vocabulary? We watch the first, the ultimate, the lowest, and the last episode. Now, first and last are obvious. Ultimate and lowest are based on IMDb ratings. We are up to the ultimate episode of Bonanza that first aired on March 9th, 1969, written and directed by Michael Landon, who played Little Joe and later Pa on Little House on the Prairie. This episode is called The Wish, episode 23 of season 10. I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
Spoiler alert, Tom. I thought this episode was so good that it goes on the shelf next to The Wire in a very exclusive clubs called Shows That We've Watched in Which They Say the N-Word.
I was waiting for where you were going. Yes. I in my notes I put, wow, the N-word. Then I wrote twice, and then in parentheses,
3
and
times.
more.
Yeah.
I guess in 1969, if you were having a bigot, which these characters are, you could have them say that because you're saying, yes, of course, bigots say that. That's the problem with the word. Whereas nowadays, you just don't have it unless...
Culturally, not defending just time traveling back to, 70 years ago or whatever, they probably would have called it more derogatory slang versus the profanity with which we treat it today.
Yeah. I told Amos that he should watch this with his wife, who has been critical of some of the other series that he's had to watch. So I kind of want to start with Amos's impressions, because you weren't able to watch it with her, but she watched it, right?
Right. She was actually she was giving me her impressions on the episode as you guys were going through the first topic of cord killers today. I thought of this episode. I recognized some common tropes, and it kind of went different directions than I thought it would. I really appreciated the fact that Haas was ignorant to what was going on, but stood firm on the equality aspect of it, and kind of had to learn about the father's pride and how he didn't want to be given anything. He wanted to earn his way and things like that. If I were to sum up what my wife said about it, she said this episode should be shown in schools as official education material.
Yeah, it was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tom.
No. I was startled by the subtlety exhibited in this. I was pleased that it didn't fall, into a lazy, Haas will help, and then I was quite stunned when you had that scene where Haas is like, I'm just trying to help. I'm trying to be the good guy, and getting told like, oh yeah, you just take care of old John, and getting the satire, because that was way more real than I would expect 1969 television to show.
Well, and on top of that, there was, you have to squint. Look, grading everything on a curve, because the restrictions on broadcast television were very, very tight. You had format restrictions. You had things you could and couldn't say on television restrictions. You had to write the material in such a way that people could join 5 minutes in and still pretty much know what's going on, maybe miss parts, so you have to repeat them or whatever. Having said all of that, it kind of felt like a movie, and I didn't expect that. Now, a fairly simple movie, only with a couple of locations and what have you, but a movie nonetheless. And Michael Landon is a very, very thoughtful, was, I don't know if we use past tense. In school, they taught me everyone is present tense. Doesn't matter. But he's a thoughtful guy, and so he did put complicated messaging that you very clearly. Haas is meant to be the everyman of America. He's meant to do what seems to be an obviously good. I don't understand. Why don't you just whatever? And instead of telling, they show. It's like, well, this is the echoes and the reverberations, and this is the multi-layered things that, because at first, this is really a story of pride. It demonizes pride. It demonizes, it was John's pride. Is that who it was? And then it also demonizes the white bigot's pride. It's great. Now, it's not the highest art on the planet. Also, my first thought when the theme came on is, "Whoa, they got fat." But it was. I thought it was a very ambitious episode, and it's very deserving both of within the program and outside of the program of what they aspired to do.
At the very beginning, Haas is in town and sees little Johnny, right? And he goes and he starts to ask him about the wish, and he says that his wish is for his dad to be white, so he wouldn't have the problems that everything would get taken care of, because that's what happens. At that point, I like paused it and I just sat there and I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be one of those episodes. Like it reframed. I was thinking this is gonna be just a normal, maybe ethical thing or whatever, but at that point I knew this was going to be a little more nuanced and a little more like intimate with how it handled the subject and everything else. And I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this today, but
Well, I was struck by that too, because it was no beating around the bush. It was like hitting you like right in the face. Like, we're going to set a tall order for this episode. And when I was like, wow, okay, that is very real. Both in the time period of Bonanza and 1969. And so I'm very curious where this episode written by Michael Landon goes with that. And the fact of the matter is, it impressed me at every turn. So I was still curious, like, am I missing anything in here? And it sounds like from what your wife's saying is that I didn't miss much if I did. And the only thing I'm left wondering is, who is it that told Michael Landon the experiences they had that informed this writing? Because they certainly were not drawn from Michael Landon's own experiences.
I don't know. Michael Landon.
I don't,
Landon
as far as I know, believe Michael Landon was ever a black man in the United States.
But as the rest of my thought concludes, Tom, he was deeply religious, so it would surprise me not at all if this all came from immersing in charity work or something.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, absolutely. But who was it? Like, who is the person where he's like, I drew from that? I guess what you're saying is maybe it's multiple people.
Yes. My guess is he didn't have a person. That's the part I have issue with.
Sure.
Is
that makes
almost
sense.
certainly Michael Landon repeatedly saw firsthand all of this stuff and didn't. He's capable of not having this handed to him.
I think what's crazy about it is, it would have been tempting for any writer to oversimplify this, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would have been tempting for any writer to give in to what must have been network pressure to change this and simplify it. And somehow it got made. Perhaps it's the fact that Bonanza was a huge hit in 10 seasons in that gave him the leverage to do it.
Well, in this, within the context, and I suppose there's probably essays written upon this that we probably should have read, but in the middle of the civil rights movement, when there is this general sense in America to want to try to help or to decide that this is a simple problem, this is generational trauma that we're still unpacking to this very day. And so the pushback of it's not as, whatever you're saying, if you think, if simple is in it, allow us to just provide the barest fable of what the lesson might be, that it's not as easy as you look.
Yeah.
Something that really lines up with my conversations with not only my wife, and for those that don't know, my wife is black, so that's why we keep bringing her up into this conversation. One of the things that I talked to her about is that with everything going on in the world and with the social dynamic the way it is with different ethnicities, this episode really hit me hard in the fact that the dad didn't want a handout, but he accepted an equal playing field.
Well, and that's the part, actually, that was the part that my spidey sense was like, oh, this is a transparent bid for a works program based on ethnicity, which I didn't know how I felt about. But also, I don't know if I'm projecting in that case. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, the fact that you don't know whether you're projecting makes me think that it is literarily valid. In other words, maybe it was intended to be that, but it doesn't have to be, right? So it can stand on its own. And that was the thing that impressed me about it is I'm usually very forgiving towards things, but I definitely identify when it's like, they took a shortcut there. Oh, they skipped over a nuance there. And it really felt like they went places that I did not expect it to go. Halfway through this episode, I knew it wasn't going to be a happy ending where Haas was able to win over the town, and it ended with him leaving. And I was surprised that it wasn't like, we'll get a situation where you can keep your land. It was like, no, I still have to leave. That's the reality. We're not going to gloss over that.
I loved that they embraced the complicated ending. Like, you done goofed, Haas. You really are soft. You made your vacation was to screw up a man's life. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And the easy way out would have been to say, well, you can just use the farmland on our property, that kind of thing. And they, that was never really even leaned into.
Well, but I like that as a viewer, you kind of like just offer.
hire it.
They're like,
but but by the end of the episode, I was like, no, that would not have been. That's not. That wouldn't have been a satisfying ending in any way, shape, or form in real life or. As a viewer of this episode. So, yeah. Especially
because he was a freed slave. So even if you're paying him, it feels too familiar, right? And he wants to be able to do this on his own. Yeah. He has his own land.
Work on our land and we'll take care of you.
Exactly. And he's like, no, I saved money and I bought land. I bought my freedom and bought my land. I don't want to go back to working for someone else. I've made it this far. I want to stay doing that.
Well, I'll say this much in my appreciation of it. I don't know that it's high art. It's a fairly simple 1, 2, 3 story, but boy, did this episode punch above its weight, and boy, did it surprise me with subtlety, nuance, depth, and I understand why it's the highest rated episode for Bonanza.
Yeah, clearly. Like, could you remake this and elevate it even more to be art? Probably. But I don't know that you changed much to the nuance or the script, right? Like there's other things you could do to elevate it, but the story itself, I think, is strong.
Even with that, and even after talking with my wife and everything else, I still feel like there's more to this episode that we're missing because we have the
I don't know that there is. It's Bonanza. Like, I mean, I think that we've read charitable amounts of depth to something that is being broadcast to make people in the late 60s buy dish soap. I think you can hear Michael Landon really trying to scream from behind the show, and that's what I dig about it. But I don't want to elevate it to the level of high art that it sounds like you want to, Amos. I don't know.
I don't know if I want to elevate it to high art. I just I'm maybe this could be overcompensation on my part, but I just want to acknowledge the fact that there's probably nuance here that I'm not picking up because I don't have that experience that maybe had been inferred into the show. Also, I want to know, this is an 8.3 on IMDb. It's the highest rated episode now. How was it taken when it was originally broadcast?
Yeah, no, that's good. That's a fair question. How many people looked like cowboy Elon Musk at this? Because that's what one of the guys in town. I was like, wow, he's a striking resemblance to somebody. Well, let us know what you think. Cordkillers@gmail.com is the email address. I'm very curious if you watch this, what you think of it as well. I will push back a little bit, Brian, and say I think I give this script more credit than you do because it could have been a very good episode and avoided certain topics that it didn't. And I really keep going back as the biggest example when Haas is like, well, I'm just trying to help. And Sam really kind of letting him know, like, yeah, but you don't know how to help. And you don't know what the implications of your help is. And he wasn't trying to punish Haas for that. He was just expressing his own frustration and something real. And that is a real issue that I think still rings true today. And so that's something that makes this a little timeless. And I feel like that elevates it beyond just a simple dish soap and episode of Bonanza, which otherwise it absolutely is. You're right.
Also, thank goodness if you're going to drop a couple hard R's in the middle of a show, it was aimed pointed the right direction. Like it was, the show wasn't like, oh, this is just how Bonanza is now. It's going to be just crappy racist show.
Yeah.
I was nervous because I was joking with Tom before DTNS. I was like, yeah, they probably just drop a couple hard R's and here we go. There's a story, and then
yeah,
and then it happened. I was like, oh. Please.
Outside of Sam's story, it was interesting that we got a Haas bottle episode.
Yeah.
Like
I chuckled at just how perfunctory the first 30 seconds were. We're like, anyway, he's on vacation. Get out. Let's go.
He got a bag, like a pillowcase full of supplies for $1.22 or something.
That's 1800s, man. Your dollar went farther. I was like, wait, we don't have the older brother anymore. There's some guy named Candy. Oh, well, I guess we won't learn anything about him in this episode.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And little Joe's not little anymore. You're right. It's like, oh, look at that. We didn't even see Lauren Green. He wasn't even in this episode.
No, yeah, I thought he was. Well, no, he was definitely in the intro. he definitely had a gut in the intro.
He was in the intro, but he wasn't in the scene, was he? Did he say goodbye?
I thought
to
he
Haas?
was, but maybe.
Maybe he was. He clearly wasn't a memorable performance for either of us. So there you go. That is the highest rated episode by IMDb ratings of Bonanza, The Wish, season 10, episode 23. So now, presumably, they will lose some weight as we go back to season 7 to watch the lowest rated episode on IMDb called The Strange One, which first aired November 14th,
do you know what the rating is on that
1965. No, but it won't take me. But you got it?
5.5?
5.8. Yikes.
Oh, you know what? That's not a bad spread. That's an aspect that we don't talk about very often is the spread
5.5.
between the good ones and the bad ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5.5.
Not great, but yes, we've seen worse rated ones.
It's better than half.
The Strange One, just based on that, what do you think it's about?
Leaning on your left hand.
Yeah. Writing with his left hand. It's that strange one. And it would make for a very boring plot. That is our episode of The Full Experience. You get these episodes early if you're a patron. Why aren't you a patron? I mean, I don't want to say anything, but you could become a patron. It's pretty easy.
This is an escalation in our format. I like it.
I mean, it's not hard. Patreon.com/cordkillers.
Yeah, you want nice Tom? Go to freetomnewsletter.com.
Hey, homespun over here.
Tom.
I ain't trying to say nothing, but patreon.com/cordkillers if you want to make this right. You get these episodes early and you get After Talking a whole lot more. Thanks, everybody. We will talk to you next time on The Full Experience. Goodbye.
Bye.
And that's it for the live stream. You did it.
So long, beautiful people. We'll see you guys.
The beautiful people.
Don't forget, we got a great night tonight.